Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract wealth effortlessly while others struggle despite working twice as hard? What if I told you that a single word, just one word, could completely transform your financial reality starting today? This isn't fantasy or wishful thinking. It's a fundamental law of creation that today I'm going to share something so powerful, so transformative, that it might just change the course of your life forever. This secret has been hiding in plain sight, whispered by the greatest prosperity teachers throughout history, yet overlooked by almost everyone searching for financial freedom. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the globe. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Has this ever happened to you? You work hard, you do everything right, yet money seems to flow away from you instead of toward you. You watch others succeed with seemingly less effort and wonder what invisible force they've tapped into that you haven't discovered yet. The truth is, there's a reason for this, and it lies in something you do thousands of times every single day without even realizing its impact on your reality. I'm talking about the words you speak, particularly one specific word that acts as a direct command to the universe. Florence Scovel Shinn, one of the greatest prosperity teachers of all time, revealed that your imagination is the creative power of God itself. Whatever you impress upon your imagination eventually manifests as your reality, not as some distant possibility, but as an absolute certainty. But here's what most people miss. Words are the vehicles that carry these impressions into your imagination. The words you whisper to yourself in private moments aren't just thoughts. They're containers of belief, feeling, and destiny. They're actively sculpting your financial future with every utterance. That's why when you say things like, "I can't afford it," or "money is hard to come by," you're not just describing your current situation. You're literally commanding your reality to maintain these conditions. Stay with me until the end of this video because what you're about to discover might surprise you. This isn't another generic think positive message. This is about a specific word, a word so alive with creative power that when spoken with genuine feeling, it begins immediately rearranging the invisible elements of your life toward wealth and abundance. Imagine waking up tomorrow with a completely different relationship to money. Imagine opportunities flowing to you effortlessly, doors opening without struggle, and your bank account reflecting the prosperity you've always known was possible. All of this begins with understanding the profound power of your words. Click subscribe to join our community of conscious creators and unlock more powerful manifestation techniques that will transform your financial reality. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because what most people completely miss about language is that words aren't just descriptions. They're containers. Think about that for a moment. Each word you speak is a vessel carrying your beliefs, your feelings, and ultimately your destiny. When you drop a pebble in water, it creates ripples that extend far beyond the point of impact. Your words function in exactly the same way in the field of your life. This hidden truth lies at the heart of every major transformation in human history. The people who changed their circumstances radically didn't just change their actions, they first changed their words. This wasn't accidental. It was a deliberate shift in mindset that preceded all external change. Let's explore what's really happening in your daily experience. Those phrases you repeat to yourself while looking in the mirror, while checking your bank account, while watching others succeed. They're not just passing thoughts. They're programming, as real and impactful as lines of code in a computer. And like computer code, they execute precisely what they're written to execute, whether you're conscious of it or not. When you say, "I can't afford that," your creative mind doesn't analyze this statement for accuracy. It simply accepts it as a command and begins rearranging your perceptions, your opportunities, and your decisions to make this statement your reality. The same happens when you tell yourself, "Money is hard to come by," or "I'll never be wealthy." These aren't observations, they're instructions to your subconscious mind. The most shocking revelation in this journey toward abundance is that the universe doesn't distinguish between what you want and what you don't want. It only responds to the feelings attached to your words. Say, "I don't want to be in debt," repeatedly, and you're actually focusing your creative energy on debt itself. The "don't want" part gets filtered out, leaving only the vibration of debt as the command. This explains why so many well-intentioned people remain stuck in cycles of lack despite their best efforts. They're unknowingly commanding their reality through negative declarations, then wondering why nothing changes. It's like planting weed seeds while hoping for roses, then being surprised when weeds continue to grow. But here's where your path can diverge from the masses. Once you understand that your words are containers of creative energy, you can begin to choose them with deliberate intention. You can examine the phrases you repeat daily and ask yourself, what reality am I commanding into existence with these words? The true measure of your potential for wealth isn't your education, your background, or even your current circumstances. It's the quality of the words you consistently speak to yourself when nobody's listening. Write in the comments, "I'm watching my words," if you're beginning to see how this applies in your own life. This conscious awareness of your words creates a pivot point in your journey, a moment where you begin to recognize the architecture of your reality. And it's at this precise moment that I want to share with you something extraordinary. There exists a specific word, a power word if you will, that has the remarkable ability to completely reverse the patterns of lack in your life. This isn't just any word. It's a word that carries the energetic blueprint of abundance itself. A word that, when spoken with genuine feeling and understanding, begins to unlock wealth, opportunity, and flow in ways that might seem miraculous to those who don't understand this principle. Florence Scovel Shinn revealed this word in her teachings, yet it remains overlooked by most people seeking financial freedom. What makes this revelation so profound is that you've likely spoken this word thousands of times throughout your life without recognizing its transformative potential. It's been hiding in plain sight, waiting for you to harness its creative power. The difference between those who activate its potential and those who don't comes down to one thing: consciousness, the awareness of what you're actually doing when you speak it. Now, to fully grasp the significance of this word, we need to understand something fundamental about the nature of thought itself. Every single thought that passes through your mind carries a whisper of language. Even when you're not speaking out loud, there's an internal dialogue happening, a subtle narration accompanying your experiences. These whispers aren't just passive observations. Each one carries an emotional signature, a feeling tone that determines its creative potential. Joy, fear, expectation, doubt. These aren't just psychological states. They're energetic blueprints that your thoughts use to construct tomorrow's experiences. This is the hidden mechanism behind what some call manifestation or the law of attraction, but it's far more precise and scientific than most realize. Think of it as spiritual physics. Your thoughts, clothed in the language of your inner dialogue and charged with the electricity of your emotions, become the sculptors of the reality you step into with each new day. This isn't mystical thinking. It's a recognition of the inseparable connection between your internal state and your external circumstances. The quantum field of possibilities surrounding you right now is infinite. What determines which possibilities collapse into your actual experience? The answer lies in the particular frequency of your thoughts, words, and feelings, all three working together as a unified creative force. When you begin to observe this process within yourself, you'll notice patterns. You'll see how certain thoughts consistently precede certain experiences. You'll recognize the I relationship between your inner commentary and the scenes that unfold before you. And most importantly, you'll discover your power to intervene in this process consciously, redirecting the entire flow of your experience through deliberate shifts in your inner language. Subscribe now and discover more hidden wisdom from Florence Scovel Shinn's teachings that most people will never hear. This is where the transformation from financial struggle to abundance truly begins. Not with external strategies, but with internal revelations about the relationship between your words and your wealth. Type, "I create my reality" in the comments if you're beginning to feel the profound significance of this understanding. What we're uncovering here is the alchemical process through which imagination becomes reality, the precise mechanism by which your inner world manifests as your outer experience. This isn't abstract philosophy. It's a practical blueprint for transformation that begins with understanding a profound truth. What you consistently imagine with feeling, you inevitably become. This explains why a single word, when charged with faith and wrapped in genuine emotion, has the literal power to make you rich. Think of your imagination as fertile soil, the most powerful creative medium in existence. When you plant a word there, not just as a sound, but as a felt experience, it doesn't remain static. It begins a journey of manifestation that follows natural laws as predictable as gravity. Behind the scenes of your conscious awareness, this seed word begins developing roots. It starts connecting with similar thoughts, memories, and beliefs already present in your mental landscape. It draws nourishment from your attention. It grows stronger with repetition. This isn't wishful thinking. It's the science of consciousness in action. What fascinates me most about this process is how it operates whether you're aware of it or not. Every day, people plant seeds of limitation or abundance without realizing they're programming their future experiences. The millionaire and the person struggling paycheck to paycheck are both using exactly the same mechanism. The only difference is in the quality of seeds they're planting. The revelation that changed my own financial journey was understanding that this seed, when properly planted, grows not just within your mind, but extends outward to reshape your entire world. The process happens effortlessly, not through struggle or force, but through alignment with natural law. Like a maple seed that contains the blueprint for an entire tree, your word seed contains the complete blueprint for your financial reality. What makes this especially powerful is that once the seed is planted with genuine feeling, the universe conspires to bring it to fruition through countless synchronicities and coincidences. The phone call comes at exactly the right moment. The opportunity appears seemingly from nowhere. The person with the exact connection you need crosses your path. None of this is random. It's the outer world reorganizing itself to match the pattern you've established in your imagination. This is why those who truly understand this principle don't chase money. They don't hustle from a place of lack. Instead, they cultivate a precise inner state and allow wealth to flow to them through the path of least resistance. The transformation begins within, in that private sanctuary of imagination where you get to select which seeds you'll water with your attention and emotion. The decision point we all face is whether we'll continue planting seeds unconsciously, allowing fears and doubts to determine our harvest, or whether we'll become conscious gardeners of our financial future. The power to choose has always been yours. The only question is whether you're ready to exercise it with clear intention. Drop "I am the gardener" in the comments if you're committed to becoming more deliberate about the seeds you're planting in your imagination. Now, I want to explore the fascinating threshold that appears when you begin living as though this powerful word is already integrated into your being. There's a profound shift that happens, an opening of doors you never even knew existed. This isn't metaphorical language. It's a description of what actually occurs in the physical landscape of your life. When you fully embody this word principle, seemingly random events begin to align in remarkable patterns. That phone call you've been waiting for suddenly comes through. The opportunity that felt just out of reach appears at precisely the right moment. Your bank account begins to shift in ways that might have seemed impossible just weeks earlier. This isn't coincidence. It's the natural unfolding of universal law. The breakthrough moment in this journey comes when you realize that these openings were always available to you. They existed in what quantum physicists might call probability fields, potential, realities waiting to be activated by your consciousness. The only reason you couldn't access them before was that your inner dialogue was tuned to a different frequency, the frequency of lack rather than abundance. This revelation leads us to a critical decision point that everyone on the path to financial freedom must face. You cannot hold two worlds at once. This is perhaps the most essential insight that separates those who transform their financial reality from those who remain stuck. You simply cannot continue repeating words of fear, limitation, and scarcity while expecting to live in a world of abundance. The universe doesn't work that way. Imagine trying to tune your radio to two different stations simultaneously. It's physically impossible. You'll only ever hear distortion. Your consciousness works exactly the same way. You must decide which frequency you're tuning to, which world you're choosing to inhabit. The moment of transition, that pivotal shift from the mindset of lack to the mindset of prosperity, is not always comfortable. There's a reason why breakthrough and breakdown share the same prefix. When you begin dismantling old thought patterns, there's often a period of uncertainty, a liminal space between worlds where your old identity is dissolving, but your new one hasn't fully formed. This discomfort explains why many people retreat back to familiar limitation, even when abundance is within their grasp. The unknown, even when it promises freedom, can feel threatening to a mind accustomed to predictable constraints. This is why the decision to fully inhabit the world of your choosing must be made with clarity and conviction. What's fascinating about this process is how your external environment will often fight to pull you back to your old identity. Friends may question your new outlook. Circumstances may temporarily appear to contradict your inner knowing. This resistance isn't evidence that the principle doesn't work. It's actually confirmation that powerful change is underway. Type, "I choose abundance" in the comments if you're ready to make this fundamental decision about which world you'll inhabit. Let me take you deeper into understanding what's actually happening when you speak words with genuine feeling. There's a dimension to language that goes far beyond intellectual comprehension, a vibrational quality that affects you at the cellular level. When you truly grasp the power of words, you don't just understand them. Conceptually, you feel their vibrations moving through your entire being, like roots extending into fertile ground. This is the hidden revelation that transforms theoretical knowledge into embodied wisdom. Words don't just exist as abstract concepts or sounds. They carry energetic signatures that resonate with specific frequencies in the quantum field. Your body knows this instinctively, even if your conscious mind hasn't recognized it yet. Have you ever noticed how certain phrases make your chest tighten or your breathing shallow, while others create an immediate sense of expansion and possibility? What's happening in these moments is a tangible energetic exchange. The words you speak, especially those charged with emotion, are literally your perception filters reorganize. You begin noticing opportunities that were always present but previously invisible to you because they didn't match your emotional frequency. The breakthrough that transforms theory into embodied wisdom is recognizing that this process isn't abstract or metaphysical. It's happening right now, within your biology, within your energy field, within the quantum reality that underlies your physical experience. Every emotionally charged word you speak is literally rewiring your brain and recoding your relationship with abundance. If this aligns with what you're experiencing, share "I feel the connection" in the comments. Let me share a powerful insight that will help you understand why words affect us so profoundly at both conscious and subconscious levels. Think about the last time someone spoke harshly to you, perhaps criticizing your financial decisions or dismissing your dreams. Notice what happened in your body in that moment. There was an immediate physical contraction, wasn't there? Your muscles tightened, your breathing became shallow, perhaps your heart rate increased. This bodily response isn't coincidental or merely psychological. It's evidence of words literally entering your physical system and altering your state of being. What's even more revealing is what happens after the initial interaction. Your mind begins replaying the harsh words, looping them through your consciousness, embedding them deeper with each repetition. The words don't simply fade away. They become an inner state that lives inside you, influencing your decisions, perceptions, and actions long after they were spoken. This biological impact of language reveals the actual pathway through which words become reality. They first alter your physical state, which changes your energetic signature, which then attracts matching circumstances. The revelation that transforms theory into practice is recognizing that these harsh words, whether from others or from your own inner critic, aren't just causing momentary discomfort. They're programming your entire system to manifest experiences that match their frequency. Now consider the opposite scenario, when someone speaks words of encouragement about your financial potential or expresses genuine belief in your capacity to create wealth. The transformation in your physical state is equally dramatic, but completely different in quality. Your chest opens. The heaviness that may have been pressing on you lifts. Your breathing deepens. You stand taller, quite literally expanding into a different energetic posture. In these moments of upliftment through words, you're experiencing far more than just a pleasant emotional response. You're undergoing a fundamental recalibration of your entire being. It's not just sound entering your ears, it's an inner movement, a shift in the field of possibilities surrounding you. This explains why a single sentence of authentic encouragement can sometimes catalyze a complete reversal in someone's financial journey. What's happening in these contrasting scenarios is a revelation about the mechanics of manifestation. Words don't just describe reality. They reconfigure your receptivity to different potential experiences. The harsh word closes doors in your perception. The encouraging word opens them. Neither one is changing the infinite possibilities that exist. They're changing which possibilities you're aligned with and therefore able to experience. The discovery that liberates you from financial limitation is recognizing that you don't need to wait for others to speak encouraging words to you. You can become the source of your own transformation through the conscious selection of which words you'll accept as truth and which you'll release as no longer serving your highest expression. Share your thoughts by typing "Words shape my reality" in the comments if this understanding resonates with your experience. Now, I want to go even deeper into the most fascinating aspect of this entire process, the mechanism through which your words actually reshape your reality. What's happening in your mind is far more systematic than most people realize. Every single word you encounter, whether spoken by others or by your own inner voice, enters as a suggestion. It doesn't arrive with a judgment of true or false attached to it. It simply presents itself as a possibility. This suggestion doesn't remain abstract. It immediately transforms into an image, a sensory experience within your consciousness. And once that image takes hold, it begins a remarkable journey. It starts drawing to itself outer events, circumstances, and opportunities that match its energetic signature. This is the hidden architecture behind what many call manifestation, or the law of attraction. But it operates with far more precision than most teachings suggest. The revelation that transforms intellectual understanding into lived experience is recognizing that your circumstances aren't random occurrences or the result of forces beyond your control. They're the perfect mirror of your inner dialogue. The financial situation you're experiencing right now isn't happening to you. It's happening from you through the creative medium of the words you've been repeating with the greatest emotional intensity. What makes this principle both challenging and liberating is the way your subconscious mind processes these suggestions. Unlike your analytical conscious mind, your subconscious doesn't argue with what you tell it. It doesn't weigh facts against lies or evaluate whether your statements align with your current reality. It operates on a much simpler principle. It accepts what you repeat most often and with the greatest feeling, then proceeds to manifest accordingly. This explains why affirmations sometimes work powerfully for people and other times seem completely ineffective. The determining factor isn't the words themselves, but the feeling state behind them and the consistency with which they're repeated. A half-hearted affirmation, spoken once a day while your inner dialogue constantly contradicts it, has little chance of taking root. but a declaration spoken with genuine feeling and repeated until it becomes your dominant inner narrative will inevitably reshape your external circumstances. The journey of transformation begins with becoming conscious of this previously unconscious process. It requires developing what we might call inner ear, the ability to hear what you've been telling yourself when no one else is listening. This awakening can be uncomfortable at first, as you become aware of just how many limiting suggestions you've been feeding your subconscious. Yet this moment of reckoning is also the doorway to freedom. Once you recognize that your subconscious is continuously accepting the suggestions you offer it, without judgment, without resistance, you can begin deliberately selecting which suggestions you'll continue repeating and which you'll replace. This isn't about denying your current reality, but about choosing which reality you'll create next through the power of your words. Drop "I am awakening" in the comments if you're beginning to feel this shift in awareness happening within you. Now, I want to go even deeper into what might be the most profound revelation in this entire journey of transformation, the true nature of your words as actual commands to the universe. Florence Scovel Shinn uncovered a truth that shatters conventional thinking about the relationship between language and reality. The words you speak in silence, those private declarations that no one else hears, aren't merely thoughts or observations. They are the literal builders of your destiny. This insight transcends positive thinking as a psychological technique. What's happening when you make a declaration isn't just a shift in your attitude. It's the issuance of a command that your outer life cannot resist. This isn't metaphorical language. It's the revelation of a fundamental law that operates with perfect precision, whether you're aware of it or not. Your external circumstances have no choice but to reorganize themselves to match your internal commands. They must obey, not out of spiritual preference, but as a matter of immutable law. Think of it this way. The universe doesn't have ears to hear your complaints or eyes to see your vision boards. It has only one mechanism for knowing what you desire to experience: the commands you issue through your most deeply felt words. When you declare, "I never have enough money," you aren't describing your situation. You're commanding it. When you declare, "I am wealthy beyond measure," you aren't affirming a future possibility. You're installing a present reality at the causal level of creation. This revelation illuminates why so many remain trapped in financial struggle despite their best efforts and deepest desires. There exists what we might call a veil of perception that covers most people's eyes, a veil that keeps them blind to the abundance that surrounds them. But this veil isn't made of cloth or stone or any physical substance. It's woven entirely from words, from the limiting phrases they repeat to themselves day after day, moment after moment. The hidden truth that liberates you from financial limitation is recognizing that wealth isn't actually scarce. Opportunity isn't actually limited. The resources you seek aren't being withheld from you by external forces. They've simply been rendered invisible by the veil of your own declarations. When you repeatedly tell yourself, "It's too hard to get ahead," or "Money is always a struggle for me," you're not describing your reality. You're creating a perceptual filter that literally blinds you to the abundance that exists all around you. What makes this insight so revolutionary is that it places the power of transformation directly in your hands. If your limiting words created the veil, your expansive words can dissolve it. This isn't about denying current circumstances or pretending that challenges don't exist. It's about recognizing that your perception of those circumstances is shaped entirely by the words you've been using to interpret them. The journey toward financial freedom begins with the decision to tear this veil apart, to examine the phrases you've been repeating and replace those that limit with those that liberate. If you're beginning to sense the profound implications of this understanding, type "I command my reality" in the comments. Now, I want to explore a fascinating concept that Florence Scovel Shinn articulated with remarkable clarity: the relationship between your internal states and the language that clothes them. She taught that we don't merely have experiences, We actually live inside the states we occupy. And these states aren't abstract or metaphysical, they're tangible conditions of consciousness that become our lived experience. What's crucial to understand is that these states are always clothed in language. This insight reveals the mechanism behind why words hold such tremendous power. When you say, "It's too hard," you're not merely describing a challenge. You're literally stepping into the state of struggle. You're inhabiting it, breathing its atmosphere, seeing through its filters. Similarly, when you declare, "It's impossible for me," you're not just expressing doubt. You're taking up residence in the state of impossibility, where all doors appear closed regardless of the opportunities actually surrounding you. The revelation that transforms theory into lived wisdom is recognizing that you never experience reality directly. You experience the state you're occupying, and you never occupy a state accidentally. You select it, moment by moment, through the declarations you make to yourself about what's possible, what's available, what's true for you. Your words aren't just describing your state, they're creating it, sustaining it, reinforcing it with every repetition. What most people never realize is that the greatest obstacle to financial freedom isn't external circumstances. It's the imprisonment created by what they call honest assessment. When someone says, "I'm just being realistic about my financial situation," what they're actually doing is confusing imprisonment for integrity. They believe they're being honest when they focus on limitation, when they enumerate all the reasons why wealth isn't possible for them, when they rehearse their struggles with money. But words are never neutral observers. They're either veils or windows. They either block your perception of the abundance that surrounds you, or they reveal it. What feels like being honest about your limitations is actually the act of pulling the veil tighter around your eyes, reinforcing the very conditions you're attempting to describe. The path to transformation begins with the recognition that describing your current financial reality isn't the same as being trapped by it. You can acknowledge where you are while simultaneously speaking the language of where you're going. You can be truthful about your present circumstances while refusing to clothe yourself in the language of limitation. This distinction is everything. The difference between those who remain trapped in financial struggle and those who step into the flow of abundance. It's not about denying reality. It's about choosing which reality you'll continue creating through the words you select. If this perspective is shifting something in your understanding, type "freedom through words" in the comments. Now, I want to reveal something transformative about what actually happens when you begin to shift your inner speech. It's not just a psychological exercise. It's a fundamental alteration in your relationship with reality itself. When you deliberately change the words you speak in the privacy of your mind, you're literally tearing apart the veil that has kept abundance hidden from your perception. What's fascinating about this process is that the wealth you begin to glimpse wasn't created by your new words. It was always there, simply invisible to you because of the perceptual filters your old language had installed. This shift in awareness explains why people often experience sudden breakthroughs after working with this principle. They describe it as if they're seeing their world through entirely new eyes. And in a very real sense, they are. The opportunities that begin appearing weren't created the moment you changed your inner dialogue. They were always present in your environment, but rendered invisible by the limiting language you had been using to interpret your experience. Think about walking through a familiar neighborhood after having worn tinted glasses for years. Suddenly, you remove them, and colors appear that you never realized existed. The landscape didn't change. Your perception did. This is precisely what happens when you release the language of limitation and begin speaking words of abundance. You're not creating a new reality. You're finally seeing the abundant reality that was always there. And now, after this journey of understanding, I can finally reveal the word that Florence Scovel Shinn discovered holds the master key to this entire process of transformation. The word that unlocks wealth, that activates abundance, that commands your reality to reshape itself is deceptively simple. I am. Not I will be. Not someday I might become. Not I hope to be. but I am, the present tense declaration of being and creating. These two small words contain within them the entire power of creation itself. When you declare, I am, you're not describing your condition. You're commanding it. You're not reporting on your life. You're authoring it from the causal level of reality. What makes these two words so extraordinarily powerful is that they speak directly to your identity, to the fundamental question of who you are. And identity is the foundation upon which all experience is built. Change what follows. I am. And you literally change who you are at the causal level of creation. When you declare I am wealthy, you're not attempting to convince yourself of something untrue. You're stepping into the state of being where wealth is your natural condition. This revelation explains why so many prosperity practices fail to produce lasting results. They focus on having or doing, on acquiring things or taking actions, rather than on the fundamental state of being that precedes all having and doing. Type I am power in the comments if you're beginning to grasp the profound significance of these two simple words. Now, I want to go even deeper into understanding the divine nature of these two simple words. I am. When you grasp the true essence of this declaration, you're encountering nothing less than the creative principle of the universe itself. In sacred traditions throughout history, when Moses asked for the name of the divine presence, the response was simply, I am that I am. This wasn't a philosophical abstraction. It was the revelation of the fundamental creative force that speaks reality into existence. This is precisely what happens when you declare I am in your own consciousness. You're not describing your condition or reporting on your circumstances. You're actually creating from the causal level of reality. You're stepping into the role of author, of creator, of one who calls things into being through the power of declaration. In that moment of genuine feeling declaration, you're utilizing the same creative principle through which worlds are formed. The breakthrough that transforms intellectual understanding into embodied wisdom is recognizing that there's no separation between you and this creative principle. When you say, I am wealthy, you're not trying to convince yourself of something untrue or attempting to attract something from outside yourself. You're awakening to the truth that abundance is your natural state, your birthright, your authentic identity when all limiting beliefs are removed. This revelation completely revolutionizes your approach to prosperity. Instead of chasing wealth as something external that you need to acquire through struggle, strategy, or luck, you recognize that wealth is fundamentally a state of being, an identity you claim through your I am declarations. This isn't positive thinking as a psychological technique. It's the revelation of an ontological truth about the nature of reality and your place within it. What makes this principle so transformative is that wealth doesn't need to be attracted to you from somewhere else. It flows to you because it recognizes you as its rightful owner when you declare, I am rich with absolute certainty. Like recognizes like. The vibration of abundance responds to the vibration of your identity when you've fully embodied the truth of your declarations. This identity-level transformation explains why some people seem to effortlessly attract opportunities, while others struggle despite taking identical external actions. The person who internally declares, I am wealthy with genuine feeling, creates an energetic signature that naturally magnetizes resources, ideas, connections, and opportunities. Not because they're trying to manifest something, but because they're being something. Their declaration isn't wishful thinking. It's the recognition of an already existing truth at the level of potential. The journey from financial struggle to abundance isn't about changing your strategies, though those will naturally evolve. It's about changing your fundamental answer to the question, who am I? When your answer becomes, I am the embodiment of wealth, everything in your external world begins reorganizing itself. To match this new declaration of identity, type I am wealth in the comments if this fundamental shift in perspective is resonating with your deepest knowing. As we come to this moment of clarity together, I want to thank you for joining me on this journey of revelation. What you've discovered today isn't just information, It's a key that can unlock an entirely new relationship with wealth in your life. The power of I am is now in your hands, and I'm genuinely curious about how you'll begin implementing it in your daily life. If this message resonated with your spirit today, if you felt that internal shift that signals truth recognized rather than information memorized, I'd love for you to become part of our community of conscious creators. Subscribe to join us as we continue exploring these profound principles that transform not just wealth, but every dimension of human experience. The conversation we've shared today is just the beginning. I create these videos because I believe these teachings are too valuable to remain hidden, and your presence here confirms that these truths are finding their way to those who are ready to receive them. If this journey has been valuable to you, a simple like lets me know this content is serving its purpose. Before you go, leave a comment saying, "I am transformed," so I can acknowledge those who journeyed with me all the way through this exploration. Your insights and experiences matter deeply to this community. There's a video right here that takes this principle even deeper, showing you how to amplify the power of I am through specific visualization techniques that Florence Scovel Shinn taught only to her closest students. Click and continue with me there as we build upon the foundation you've established today. Remember, what you've discovered isn't just knowledge. It's the activation of your natural state of abundance. The journey continues.